Ismail Ahmed Haniyeh was born on January 29, 1962. He is a senior political leader of Hamas and formerly one of two deputy prime ministers of the Palestinian National Authority. Haniyeh was born in the Ashti refugee camp in the Gaza Strip in 1962. He studied at the Islamic University of Gaza, during which he had become involved with Hamas, and graduated with a bachelor's degree in Arab literature in 1987. Since being appointed to head a Hamas office in 1997, he grew in the ranks of the organization. Haniyeh was head of the Hamas list that won the Palestinian legislative elections of 2006 and so became Prime Minister. President Mahmoud Abbas dismissed Haniyeh from office on June 14, 2007, at the height of the Fatah-Hamas conflict, but Haniyeh did not recognize the decree and continued to exercise his powers as Prime Minister in Gaza Strip. In September 2016, reports indicated that Haniyeh would replace Khalid Mashal as head of Hamas Political Bureau. He was elected political leader of Hamas on May 6, 2017. Childhood and education. Haniyeh was born in a Shahti refugee camp in the Egyptian-occupied Gaza Strip. His parents became refugees after fleeing their home near Ashkelon, present-day Israel, during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. He attended schools run by the United Nations and earned a degree in Arabic literature from the Islamic University of Gaza in 1987. While in college, he became involved with Hamas. From 1985 to 1986, he served as the president of the Student Council representing the Muslim Brotherhood. He also played as midfielder in the Muslim Association football team. He graduated around the same time the First Intifada against the Israeli occupation began in the Gaza Strip. Went to prison and was deported in. He participated in the First Intifada protest and was sentenced to a short prison term by an Israeli military court. He was arrested again by Israel in 1988 and spent 6 months in prison. In 1989, he was imprisoned for 3 years. After his release in 1992, the Israeli military authorities in the occupied Palestinian territories deported him to Lebanon along with senior Hamas leader Abdelaziz Mahmoud Zahir, Aziz Dikwi, and 40 other activists. The militants remained in Marj al-Zuhur in southern Lebanon for more than a year, where, according to BBC News, Hamas benefited from unprecedented media exposure and worldwide exposure. A year later, he returned to Gaza and was appointed dean of the Islamic University. Positions in Hamas. After Israel released Ahmed Yassin from prison in 1997, Haniyeh was appointed to head his office. His prominence within Hamas grew due to his relationship with Yassin, and he was appointed the representative to the Palestinian Authority. His position with Hamas continued to strengthen during the Second Intifada due to his relationship with Yassin, and because of the assassination of much of Hamas leadership by the Israeli security forces. He was targeted by the Israel Defense Forces for his alleged involvement in attacks against Israel citizens. After a suicide attack in Jerusalem in 2003, he suffered minor hand injuries from an Israeli Air Force bombing aimed at eliminating Hamas leaders. In December 2005, Haniyeh was elected head of the list of Hamas, which won elections to the Legislative Council the following month. Haniyeh took over leadership of Hamas from Khalid Mashal in elections held in 2016. Prime Minister. Haniyeh was appointed Prime Minister on February 16, 2006, following the victory of Hamas in the list of changes and reforms. On January 25, 2006, he was officially introduced to Mahmoud Abbas on February 20 and was sworn in on March 29, 2006. Dismissal dispute. On June 14, 2017, Abbas fired Haniyeh and appointed Salam Fayyad in his place. This followed action by the armed forces of Hamas to take control of Palestinian Authority positions under the control of the Fatah military armed and supported by the United States and Israel. Fayyad's appointment to replace Haniyeh was considered illegal because, under a Palestinian basic law, the president of the Palestinian Authority can dismiss a sitting prime minister but cannot appoint a replacement without approval, consent of the Palestinian Legislative Council by law, until a new prime minister is appointed. The outgoing prime minister will head an interim government. Fayyad's appointment was never placed before or approved by the Legislative Council. For this reason, Haniyeh has continued to operate in Gaza and has been recognized by a large number of Palestinians as the legitimate acting prime ministers. Anas al-Qasim, the Palestinian lawyer who drafted the basic law, is among those who declared the appointment of Fayyad to be illegal. Statements. In June 2020, in response to plans by Israeli leaders to officially annex parts of the West Bank, Abu Ubaidah said that the forces of the resistance will faithfully protect the Palestinian people and vow to make the enemy bite its fingers in regard for such a sinful decision. He described the Israeli as a declaration of war. During the 2021 escalation in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, Abu Ubaidah said that striking Tel Aviv, Dimonda, Ash-Shahdud, Ashkelon, and Beersheba were easier for us than drinking water, proclaiming that there are no red lines when responding to the aggression. After a ceasefire agreement was reached, he said, "With the help of God, we were able to humiliate the enemy, its fragile entity, and its savage army." In September 2021, after 4 out of the 6 Jubla prison escapes were arrested by Israeli forces, Abu Ubaidah announced that no future prisoners exchange with Israel would take place without freeing the escapes, saying that of the Freedom Tunnel have liberated themselves, this time from any ground. We promise them and our free prisoners that they will be liberated soon, God will willing, from above ground. In May 2022, in response to Israeli calls to assassinate Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar following several Palestinian attacks on Israel's, Abu Ubaidah said that if the enemy and its falling leadership hurt Sinwar, it would unleash a regional earthquake and unprecedented response. Rise as Hamas leader. Haniyeh's links with Hamas started in the mid-1990s. He rose through the prisoners of Hamas. Haniyeh's initiatives during the Second Intifada brought him to the front of Palestinian issues. Also read, Gaza student speaks to WAON. People walking 3 kilometers to escape Israeli attack, many camping at hospital. The Second Intifada was a period of intensified Palestinian-Israeli conflict that began in September 2000 and continued for several years. After democratic elections in the Palestinian territories, Ismail Haniyeh became Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority in 2006. On June 14, 2007, President Mahmoud Abbas dismissed Haniyeh from office at the height of the Fatah-Hamas conflict. However, Haniyeh did not recognize the decree and continued to exercise his powers as prime minister in the Gaza Strip. There has been an underground struggle between Hamas and its rival Fatah, which controls the West Bank. These domestic difficulties escalated into a brutal confrontation in 2007, which led to the explosion of Fatah powers from Gaza. In September 2016, there was reports that Haniyeh would succeed Khalid Mashal as head of the Hamas Politburo. He was legally elected head of Hamas political office on May 6, 2017. Additionally, Haniyeh and Hamas have been involved in clashes with Israel, including many military confrontations, resulted in many casualties and widespread destruction of Gaza Strip. Haniyeh has been arrested multiple times by Israeli militaries in connection with the Palestinian uprising against Israel. Two former senior U.S. officials recently called for military action against Hamas, believed to be held up in Doha. They say military action must be taken if Qatari authorities do not hand over Hamas leaders to the United States or Israel. In June 2022, Abu Ubaidah announced that the health condition of one of the Israeli prisoners in Gaza had deteriorated